Parshat Yitro, the holy Chatam Sofer imparts a profound insight. Of the Taryag mitzvot 613, Borei Olam gave Am Yisrael 2. The remaining 611 were conveyed through Moshe Rabbeinu. Remarkably, the Chatam Sofer notes that if we were stuck on an island, you could only perform 60 of those mitzvot by yourself, 10%. The remaining 90, the 551, requires a community. Some mitzvot requires a Kohen, others a Levi. We say it every day in Tefillah. Torah Siva Lanu Moshe, Torah 611 mitzvot, were given by Moshe Rabbeinu. Morasha Kilat Yaakov, Morasha. The gematria of 551, Morasha, for those 551 mitzvot, Kihilot Yaakov, we need a Kihila, we need our community. Grant me the privilege of sharing a tale that will leave you, I believe, astounded. As a mother of a large family with many children and grandchildren, Beracha tried to ignore the symptoms that begged for her attention, especially the lethargy. She never seemed to regain her strength after resting. Then came the fevers, which lingered along with a constant achiness. The physician, Dr. Shafrir, ran a series of tests, did a thorough workup, and told Bracha he would be in touch next week. A few days later, she received a phone call asking for her and her husband, Yamin, to come in. Dead giveaway. Husbands aren't needed in a meeting where there are deficiencies in vitamin D or zinc. Something was seriously wrong. Dr. Shafrir sat across from Binyamin and Beracha, and she could have predicted exactly what he was going to say. There was a mass. It would be removed surgically, and then in all probability, she was going to need chemotherapy and radiation. All Beracha could think about was her children, as silly as it seemed. She was wondering how she would share the news in a way that wouldn't worry them. Sure, they were grown-ups, but they were still children, her children, and she was their mother. Although she was sick, she had no intention of relinquishing that job. But that should have been the least of her worries, frankly. A week later, Binyamin and Bracha entered the hospital early in the morning, where the doctors performed an 8-hour surgery to remove the growth. This was followed by multiple rounds of chemotherapy and radiation, along with a variety of other treatments. Yet her condition worsened by the day. She wasn't responding to the treatments, and at no point did the disease go into remission. In a matter of months, Beracha lost all her strength, along with her ability to function normally. Try as they might, the doctors used various treatments, but nothing worked. Finally, one day, Dr. Shafrir called them into the office. He apologized for his straightforwardness, but wanted them to know all points had been exhausted. The disease was very aggressive. He recommended that they go home and get their affairs in order. It was a matter of days at most. The children came over to say goodbye. One by one, they entered their mother's room, and with aching hearts, they hugged and kissed their mother goodbye. It was a heart-rending scene. Binyamin did his best to hold everyone together. His wife was dying, and his children were crushed. There would be time to mourn later, but for now he was trying to take care of his family. That night, as Beracha's strength began to leave her, the children took turns sitting in the room. It was a long night. Muffled cries, lots of tissues, and lots of Tehillim. Before daybreak, Binyamin realized he would be best off praying first thing in the morning. He anticipated being an onen and wanted to pray as soon as the opportunity presented itself. Nothing was imminent, so he knew he could leave. He'd leave his wife for like an hour, even though she was slipping in and out of consciousness. And in addition, his children were all there. He went to pray, begging one last time for a miracle, a nes. He returned to find his wife sitting up in bed, weak, yet with a discernible smile. Miraculous! He ran to her bedside. Honey, how did this happen? Bracha began her story, speaking slowly, catching her breath, hanging on to her every word. The entire family sat at the edge of their chairs. As you know, Abba and I and our baby girl Rivka were in Hebron in 1929 when a gruesome slaughter took place, and close to 70 men, women, and children were butchered by axe-wielding Arabs crazed with hatred and bloodthirst for Jews. It was horrific. Though the three of us were miraculously saved, another couple was not as fortunate. They were murdered, yet somehow their baby daughter, Penina, survived. With nobody to take care of her, she almost died, and after her weak body was discovered, The search was on for someone to take in this little orphan and feed her. As a new mother, I was able to feed her. Even though I was taking care of my own baby, I took her in as my own, and that's what your father and I did during the most turbulent and tumultuous period of our lives. And after feeding and caring her for several months, she was taken in by a relative. Bracha went on to explain how this connected to the here and now. Last night, as I was slipping away, I was given a peek into the Olam HaEmet, where Penina's parents were begging for my life. This is the woman who had such rahamanut on our little girl. She was crying for her mother. Look, her children are now crying for their mother. Where is the rahmanut? The Beit Din Shel Ma'ala accepted their plea and ripped up my Gezar Din, enabling me to live. In the drapery of time, our acts of Chesed, they're not mere threads, they're vibrant colors that weave our enduring legacy. And like a whisper across the decades, the Chesed bestowed upon a child is a lifeline when all seemed lost. Today's mitzvot ripple into tomorrow's miracles, reminding that this is the currency of compassion is where we're infinite. You can invest in an IRA or a stock, but this investment is the kindness that transcends the material realm. In the circle of giving, every gesture, however small, carries the potential to rewrite the destinies and defy the bounds of time. When you discern that a call for kindness comes out, hesitate not for a friend's initiative. Seize that moment, for therein lies the potential for the very miracle that you may be yearning for. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. Shabbat Shalom Umevorach.